Hey guys, today I've got my October wrap up. I actually read like quite a bit in October. I read 8 books, which is like really good for me. So the first book I read was I've forgotten and there's nothing on the front. A New View of Society by Robert Owen, which is basically just some essays where Robert Owen is figuring out how to make society better. Focuses a lot on education and treating workers right and stuff, and like even though this was literally just like essays, it wasn't a story or anything, it was actually really interesting. It was really like page turning. Also, like, if you want the full title, it is A New View of Society, or Essays on the Formation of the Human Character, preparatory to the development of a plan for gradually ameliorating the condition of mankind. The next thing I read was Looking Backward by Edward Bellamy. When I got this book, like, I don't know why, but I honestly thought, like, this looks so much like Mark Gatiss, and it's literally just an eyeball. Like, what am I doing with my life? So this one is another utopia where the main guy West, he needs help sleeping, so he like gets hypnotized to go to sleep, and he has to be woken up by this, but he didn't get woken up and ends up sleeping, is it 100 years into the future? Either way, he sleeps into the future and the whole world's changed around him, so it's essentially just another utopia. I'm kind of a bit bored of utopias at the moment, to be honest. I mean, the interesting thing about utopias is that it's a commentary on the author's current society, so like all the things that have been changed and corrected are literally what's going wrong in society. So yeah, this one is based in Boston, and it's this guy sleeps and then wakes up with a family who kind of like show him the ropes and stuff. The next thing I read was Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. I went into this expecting to cry like so much, and I didn't. This basically about Bruno, who his family moves to Auschwitz because his dad works there, and he doesn't know what's going on, and he befriends a kid in the camp, and it's just like you're reading about the Holocaust from a kid's perspective who doesn't know it's the Holocaust, you know? Then I read A Modern Utopia by H.G. Wells. I said in my book haul that I wanted to read more H.G. Wells. Now I'm not so sure. To be honest with you, I'd never read any H.G. Wells, didn't know how he writes. It's one of those authors I'd heard a lot of and figured he should be on my list of authors to read. This is just really hard to get through because I don't even know what tense it was in. It was like, it was written in present tense but then also future tense, and I was like, well, is it happening or is it gonna happen? Like, I don't know. This one is basically 2 guys are out walking and then somehow they end up travelling to like a different planet, which is a utopian version of their life now, like the same, just better. The thing I remember being mentioned in this one a lot was transport. I can't remember all of it, to be honest with you. I don't know, I just feel like I'm not enjoying the utopias as much, and I can't wait to get onto the dystopias. Then I read As If by Morrison, which I did a video about. I really enjoyed this. This is about what happened in the trial of Robert Thompson and John Venables when they murdered James Bulger, told from Morrison's perspective because he was there when it happened, so it's really like a personal description of it. There's a lot of what he was thinking and what he was feeling involved, which is something I really enjoyed about this book. It made it more interesting to read, definitely. Then I read News from Nowhere by William Morris. This is another utopia. Oh my god, I've like literally completely forgotten what happens in this one. Oh, this guy wakes up again in a utopian society, and he meets this other man who again just shows him how the world has changed. Although like the main character in this one's trying to like hide the fact that he's not from their time, and he's just kind of like trying to be like, I'm from a different country. What do I remember them focusing on in this one? I remember this one talked again about work and stuff. They were kind of like, it was kind of like a journey. They were going to the harvest to go do like the big mass harvest that takes place. All of these utopias are like merging into one in my brain, and I really don't need that happening right now because I have an essay on them that needs to be written. Right, I picked this one up like, oh, it's really thin. I'll read this super quick. It's like the tiniest font ever. Also, the same thing happened with Looking Backward because, like, look at this. Right, this is a tiny book, right? Where are the margins and the paragraphs? And they've just crammed as many words onto the page as possible, so it was actually really long. Also, in this book, for some reason, every time cooperative or cooperate was written, the second O had an umlaut on it. I don't know. I think it's probably this publishing company. They have to like change it a bit so they can publish it. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't look it up, I'm just guessing. Then I read Boy A by Jonathan Tregell. I love this. This was so good. Oh my god. Right. I absolutely sobbed. Like, full on cried my eyes out at this. So basically this is about Jack, who he did a murder as a kid, and it's his new life once he's been let out and he's got a new identity and everything. And it's just like, it just follows him and shows, you know, this new person who's come from doing something terrible in his childhood. I am a little bit worried though, because like, I was telling everybody how much I cried at this, and this is on our reading list, so I'm quite worried that other people will read it and not cry as much as me, and they'll just be like, Sam, what are you doing? And the final thing I read was Border Crossing by Pat Barker. I was a tiny bit worried that there was another Pat Barker book and I was just gonna hate it because I didn't like Blow Your House Down, but I really like this. So this followed the kid years after with his new identity. This one follows the like child psychologist person. You know, in a trial that involves kids, they have to get someone in to assess if the kid like can understand what murder is, so that they can like charge them. So it follows that guy who was involved in Danny's case, who was a kid who committed a murder, and it's him grown up again because Danny ends up coming back into his life, and it's kind of like the effect that has on the adult who was involved in the case, which is interesting. But yeah, I definitely preferred this Pat Barker novel to Blow Your House Down. Also, annoyingly, Goodreads had barely any of the covers of the books I was reading. This one, the Goodreads cover is not this, and this does not exist on Goodreads, and the cover for this one does not exist. The other version, it has a dog and more of the silhouette here. Why is there a dog on the other cover? What's the relevance of the dog? Did I miss something? So yeah, that's everything I read in October. Let me know what you read, or if you read any of these and what you thought of them. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Oh good. I've just noticed there's a stamp still on my arm, so everyone knows I haven't showered this morning.